Today we're going to try and find out if a pocket full of change can stop a bullet. And when I say pocket full of change, look at how much change I have here. I'm pretty sure that's way more change than anyone would ever carry around in their pocket, but we want to find out if change can stop a bullet or not. So let's just pour all of its change into its pants pocket here. That's easily a couple pounds of change there. Alright, now we got our pants set up with the change in the pocket. You can see this is the change here. It actually didn't stack very high, but it's really thick. It's probably about 2 inches thick of change there. It weighs at least a couple pounds. And also I've stapled the pants to a 2x4, so that way we'll be able to see if anything comes through, or if it puts any kind of damage on the wood even without going through. Okay, first up we're going to try the 22 long rifle using a Ruger 1022 with a Ghia Interceptors. Okay, as you can tell, I made an outline of where the change is. And our 22 entered right here. Kind of high up on the top of where the change is at. So it actually wasn't as thick here than down here in the center. It looks like it actually came through. Wow. So just the little 22 long rifle came through, but it looks like it came through in multiple areas because it was probably broken into pieces and fragmenting. But it still did a little bit of damage to our wood back here, although not much. Little slivers and pieces of wood, and look, there's a lead fragment right there. The pocket full of change couldn't even stop a 22 long rifle. But it did break it into a bunch of pieces. There's one of the lead fragments. You can tell there's multiple little exits all over. One little hole here, here, 2 big ones here and here, another little hole here. Well, that's disappointing. I thought at least the 22 would get stopped. And look, there's even an exit over here in the front. So the 22 long rifle just exploded. And there was another lead fragment on its front big exit hole. So there's another 22 fragment. So yeah, it just went all over the place because it entered here and then exited here and all over the back. It just destroyed the 22 and sent it in pieces all over the place. Okay, now let's find out what a 9mm will do with S&B 115 grain FMJs. And my impact camera didn't pick it up that time, but all the change is just falling out now. So I suspect pretty much the same thing happened, except this time even more. More fragments tore the bottom of the pocket and let all the change fall out. These were my misses right here, 3 times, nearly all in the same spot, just low of the change. But then we finally got a hit right here. And it looks like there's no individual exit, but now there's more lead fragment exits. And there's change still falling out. I think these here were my misses. We can tell because it hit the 2x4 here. But all these weren't. So all these little holes here, 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 and here are all from fragments, including this down here. So the change also did the same thing with the 9mm as it did with the 22. It just broke it into pieces and sent lead fragments all over the place. But there's pretty much no damage to our 2x4 behind it. That's pretty surprising. And if you take a look at our change here that fell out, there's the majority of the 9mm projectile. So it actually did stop the 9mm. I think this was all caught in the change in the pocket. There's a lead fragment there. And look at some of our change is destroyed. Here's a dime, almost blown in half. Another bent up penny, a broken penny, another broken and bent penny. And even more bent up pennies. Okay, now we're gonna hit it with the 223 using Federal 55 grain FMJs. Well, you could already see all the change fell out, but let's see if it went through. Okay, now let's take a look at what our 223 did. We had an entry hole right here, just about center. I drew that circle here to show where the most change was, so it hit just about where I wanted it, a little off though. And it looks like there's no damage to the 2x4 behind it. So I think it actually stopped the 223 also, but all the change just poured out and really fast, so I'm guessing it just exploded into pieces just like the 9 and 22, but with a lot more force this time because the change just fell out of there. Here's our change on the ground, and yeah, look, there's a lot more damage change now. Some of them are actually blown in half this time. That was a penny, and somehow it's even like expanded looking. It looks larger than a penny now. Another blown in half penny. Even more damage to the change this time, and a lot more, I mean. Just blown in half, mangled and demolished coins all over. And I can't find any pieces of the bullet anywhere. It was probably just powderized from the high velocity of the 223. So I'm not positive if these exits were from 223 or the 9mm fragments. We should be able to tell in the footage which holes are new or not. But our 223 entry was right here. So I think that was here. So I think these two are probably from the 223 fragments, but we'll find out in the video. And here's a look at the 2x4 I had the pants on. You can see there's coin impressions or dents from the coins. Right here, there's 3 of them, one here, here, and here, and even down here. I think these ones might have been from the 9, and these ones here from the 223. So even the 9 appears to have put some dents in the wood from the coins. So you would definitely feel the impact either way, that's for sure. But that's just with soft lead core bullets. I'm sure if we used any kind of steel core or armor penetrating round, we would have had different results. And we could see with the 223 after just one shot, all the coins fell out pretty much within 1 or 2 seconds. So it would only stop one bullet and then all your change is gone because it fell out of the fragment holes. And just for fun, let's take a look at the pocket on the inside of where the 223 hit. So yeah, the whole thing is just ripped open with a huge hole, even bigger than the 9mm. And there's black marks here, which is either lead dust or burn marks from the heat of the impact. And there's also lead fragments. Here's a lead fragment. And there's more lead fragments down there on the pants next to the staple where I stapled it to the wood. And little tiny lead holes all over. That even looks like a piece of a penny or a piece of a copper jacket. Here's another lead fragment here. Here's the fragments recovered from the 223. I'm not sure if that's a copper jacket or a piece of a penny. But then there were these lead pieces there. And here's the coins that were destroyed from the 223. Look at that nickel, that's weird. Pretty crazy. Okay, so far we tried the 22 long rifle, the 9mm, and the 223. But I came back out here with a fresh pair of pants so we could try the 8mm Mauser and see what that'll do. It's really windy today, so sorry if you can't hear me very well. Hopefully it won't affect the video too much. But once again, we're gonna pour all this change, a couple pounds worth, into the pants pocket here and staple it to a piece of wood. All right, we got the pants set back up with the change, and just like last time, it's really thick, but not that tall. So hopefully I'll be able to get a good shot on it. And this time, I also put a thicker piece of wood behind it. All right, and for this test, we're gonna be using S&B 190 196 grain FMJs. Alright, so I've actually shot twice so far and missed both times. Our first shot went high, so I aimed a little lower, and then our shot went low. I think we got it that time. Alright, so I've left everything exactly how it was. These were our first two shots that were misses. First one went high, second one low. So this time the board fell over, and you can see a bunch of change laying around already. Here's two mangled pennies. I'm sure when I pick it up, yep, it's all gonna fall out. There it goes. So it definitely just broke open the pants pocket again. And yeah, I think the board is actually split now from absorbing the impact energy on the change there, because I don't think it was like this before. But anyways, here's our hits on the pants. Our first one was high, so I aimed a little lower. Then our second one was a little low. So then I aimed a tiny bit higher, and our third one hit right here, right in the center of the change, where it was about 2.5 inches thick. Oh, and look at that. It actually did a lot of damage behind the change still. That's the first time we've seen this. So I guess the 8mm Mauser actually did a bit of damage behind the thick wall of change. And it looks like some lead actually went through. So the bullet wasn't completely stopped this time. This was just a soft, pure lead core bullet too. If I tried one of the 8mm steel cores, I'm sure that would have penetrated even better. That was our high miss, but this is where we actually hit the change. Looks like we got some fragments blowing out here, and it feels like the pants are melted almost right here. But then we have this huge exit here, and you can already see the pants pocket is just ripped open. But wow, it actually did quite a bit of damage behind there. It just indented the wood almost 1 inch. But it also looks like there's this lead splatter, all this gray dust all over. So I'm guessing some lead fragments actually came through, and it just smacked the board so hard it split it open. And it looks like it even broke a chunk of the wood off. You can tell right here the front layer is missing because it's the different color. But let's go ahead and split this board open and see if we can find anything inside it. Here's inside the wood. Oh yeah, look at that. We have penetration. Looks like you can see lead fragments inside there. And it penetrated almost the whole length of the board. It stopped right here. So 2/3 or 3/4 of the board was penetrated by these little lead fragments here. Or maybe even change fragments. Let's see, I'll pull it out. That's what was stuck inside the board right here. Looks like a lead fragment. Or maybe even it's a piece of a coin. It's pretty hard to just be lead. I can't bend it. But there's also pants thread stuck on it too. But that doesn't include the giant dent. So there's that giant dent. Then in the center, that's penetration almost through the whole length of the board. And that's just on one side. We had the dent and the penetration in the center here. Then we also have this huge chunk broken out and another little fragment entry here. And here's the other side of the board. You can see there's penetration here too. I don't see any fragments stuck on this side though. But then we also had that little entry here, and it looks like there's a little fragment on the top of it there. So yeah, out of everything I tested, the 22, 9mm, 223, and 8mm Mauser, this was by far the most destructive. The 223 and 9mm both just put little indentions on the wood in the shapes of coins. But then the Mauser actually blew a giant chunk out of the wood made a massive dent and had multiple penetrations into the wood. Let's take a look at our change and see what that looks like. Wow, look at that nickel. That's what a nickel normally looks like. And then there's this one after absorbing 8mm fragments. And we also have fragments laying all over the ground. I'm sure these are from the 8mm. Looks like lead and copper. More fragments here. That's actually a penny fragment. Look, a little tiny chunk of penny. Pretty cool. Piece of pants laying there. Another stretched and warped penny. A normal penny next to a destroyed penny. I'm gonna collect all the non-destroyed change and the destroyed change, and then we'll take a look at all of it. Here's a look at the pants after I pulled them off of the board. So here's where the main impact was that did damage to the board. So we also have exits way over here on the other pant leg. There's 2 holes here that weren't there before, and it looks like there's also even a hole way up here. So the impact was here, but we have little fragment exits here and up there. That's pretty interesting. Let's take a look inside the pants pocket real fast. You can tell it's just completely annihilated, and there's even little impressions or little circles that the coins left behind. And here's a copper jacket fragment just stuck right there. So I've collected all the change now, and here's a look at all the damaged coins. Out of all of the tests so far, the 22, 9, 223, and Mauser, this is actually the first time I've seen coin fragments like this. These are actually just penny, nickel, and dime fragments here. Most of them are penny fragments, you can tell. So it might have actually been a coin fragment stuck inside the wood, I'm not sure. But it looks like this nickel here is what took the initial entry. It almost looks like there's some copper jacket in the entry hole. You can see like some brownish smear inside of it. So that was the initial entry most likely. And then we just have another annihilated nickel here. Broken pennies all over. But yeah, pretty devastating. Obviously it did the most damage out of all the tests, to the change and to the wood by quite a bit. Just blown apart coins and mangled coins all over. But anyways, that's all. Thanks for watching.